We're live.
We are live.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Councilwoman Joanne Ryan. Welcome to the Committee on Finance regular meeting, Thursday, May 12th, 2022. It is, can't see the time,
5:03.
5:03. Can someone move that little thing over there on my time? Thank you. 5:03 p.m. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, could you kindly read the roll?
Chairman Joanne Ryan,
Present.
Vice Chairwoman Carmen Castillo is absent. Councilman Nicolas Nabushi.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Helen DeAntoni is absent. Councilman James Taylor.
Here.
We have 3 present and 2 absent. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay, all right, we have who we have. I don't see any council people on the Zoom meeting. Okay, may I have a motion, please, to take, to waive the readings and take item 1 through 5 together?
So moved.
Motion
Second.
made by Chief Taylor, seconded by Senior Leader Martucci. All in favor, aye, and opposed, ayes have it. Okay. On first order of business here, we've invited the following, as posted on the docket, Leo Parada, Maureen McManus, Craig Hoffman, Alfred Giuliano. Are they present?
Leo Parada, Director of Public Works, present.
Craig Hoffman, Chief Engineer.
Where is Maureen McManus and Alfred?
She is on vacation this week. And Al is, unfortunately, he didn't get up at 3 a.m. this morning to help with building inspections. For second, so he's.
Not present, okay.
Yeah.
All righty, do we have a solicitor with us?
No, we don't.
We don't have a solicitor? Okay, all righty then. Madam Clerk, please swear in those from the DPW department who will be presenting this evening. Please swear them in.
Please raise your right hand. If you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
I do.
Please state your name and your title, please.
Leo Parada, Director of Public Works.
Craig Hoffman, Chief Engineer.
Okay. We don't have anyone from the finance department, the administration's finance department?
I believe they just peeked their head in. I think they were surprised it was at 5 and not 5:30.
Okay.
I believe they were right back.
So they're gonna join us shortly. Okay, because typically they begin the presentation for us, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's stand at ease for a second until the finance team from the administration joins the meeting. No worries. We did move it to 5
Is it that hard?
today, so I'm sorry. I traditionally do the 5:30. Okay, let's go back on the record. Do you want to unmute us?
I did. Oh, I did it on here, but I didn't do it up here.
Okay. We swore everyone in except for you, so let's swear the folks in from the finance team.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name for the record and your title.
Sarah Silveria, Finance Director.
Crystal Winberg, Deputy Finance Director and Budget Officer.
Thank you very much. And let the record reflect that Oscar Vargas, Councilman Vargas is with us. Okay, so with that, who is taking the lead? Director Silveria, are you presenting this?
Yes, I have a brief narrative that I would like to read into the record, and then the report also includes the org chart and the 3-box report, and so.
Can I ask you to speak a little slower?
Sorry.
You're the fastest speaker in the whole administration.
I'm gonna read into the record a brief narrative that finance reviewed and prepared, and then I will turn it over to the department to go through any items that you'd like to discuss.
I'd like to go through the 3-box report. I'd
Okay.
like you to do that.
Okay, tonight we're joined by Department of Public Works. The revenue for this division in environmental controls budgeted at $71,500 for fiscal '23. This represents an increase of $16,500 over the '22 budget of $55,000. And revenue is associated with garbage receptacles, and it's anticipated to increase due to additional utilization. Moving on to salaries. Fiscal year '23 salaries for these divisions are budgeted at $2,615,358, an increase of $112,460 over the '22 budget. This increase is due to the 2.5 increase in the 1033 proposed contract and non-union staff. Additionally, there have been a few changes to compensation for the following positions. The Deputy Director of DPW, there's a proposed salary grade change from an A24 to an A26. The Chief Engineer, an increased request from a grade A25 to an A26. And the Deputy Chief Engineer, salary increase from an A25 from an A23. And those total changes represent $23,950. Total benefits for fiscal '23 is budgeted at $1,853,485, an increase of $131,222 over the '22 budget. Services for these divisions is $11,817,294, an increase of $573,644. And this increase is primarily due to contractual increases for waste removal. Total supplies in these divisions is $100,000. It's an increase of $85,000 from the '22 budget. And this increases additional funding provided to the sewer division for cleaning of high impact sewer lines that tend to accumulate grease. The next page of your packet is the org chart for the department.
Tiny org chart. Excuse me. Madam Auditor, would you like to say? I don't know when you do.
I'm sorry, all right. Can I ask you a question about the org chart? Or do you want to wait till she's all done presenting?
Why don't we wait till she's
Okay.
all presenting?
The next,
First of all, does everybody have an org chart that is visible?
Yeah, big letters, though.
Excuse me?
We need a bigger letter.
You have a big one.
You still can't see it.
Okay, so do you have, the folks that are presenting, do you have an org chart that you can read?
I know it, so.
Okay, all right, so just as a matter of record, I received this org chart I showed it to somebody a minute ago, but it was an 8.5 by 11 sheet. It was not, I was not able to see it. I asked the auditor if she could help get an org chart in a form and fashion that we could see tonight. This was presented to us on the table, and I'm still having trouble seeing this. So, I need someone to send this committee an org chart that is, that we could read.
It's easily
I would suggest-
11 by 17.
I would suggest that you take away the shading, the coloring on here. I would suggest that you have, individual departments presented on an 8.5. You don't have to have the whole thing on one sheet. But it has to be viewed, we have to be able to see it, because this leads our discussion, and this is really difficult to see. So I just wanted to say that. Do you want to continue your presentation? I hate to interrupt you guys.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir. Councilman Narducci.
Is the same stuff that's out here in this book?
The 23 and the 22 budget are both in this book. There's a column in the $3 that has a projection for fiscal 22 presented. So that's the only item that would not be included in the budget book. Okay, so the next set of documents is the $3 report. The first division that we have is the Public Works Administration budget. Salaries in this division are budgeted at $686,508, which is an increase of $63,586. And this increase is partly due to the 2.5 proposed increase, and also the Deputy Director of DPW proposed increase from an 825 to an 826.
Okay, let's just do that again. So you've got some position increases, and they total 23.950, right?
In administration, only one of those positions is in the
Okay.
administration division.
All right, so what makes up the rest, the remainder? So that's 8.5, and you've got 63. What's the difference?
The difference is there's a 2.5% proposed wage increase with the 1033 proposed contract. There's also step increases and perhaps some changes to the attrition line, but there are no other personnel requests in that line.
Councilman, it's page 47 in your budget book, if you prefer to read it.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so they're right at the top. It is a little easier to read, so I get that. So we're just on the top 510. Okay, please continue.
Employee benefits are budgeted in total of $508,645, an increase of $27,765. And this includes the full payment for pension and the medical budget, as well as some changes to FICA and other such things. Services and supplies in this division are level funded with fiscal 22 amounts. And I'm happy to turn this over to the department if you have any questions on any particular line items in this division.
Okay. Anybody have any questions at this point?
I guess just a couple of quick questions.
Councilman, would you please?
I say that every budget season that there is times that when we make calls to the Department of Public Works, we get told that there's not enough help. So it can be done. I guess my main concern and my main question is, one, with this budget for 2023, are we fully funding the department as needed?
We are. I think one of our biggest issues in the past has been, and I can speak to this on many levels, is the inability to fill positions. And that's not just at DPW, it's nationwide, whether it's getting CDL drivers, whether it's getting engineers, whether it's getting other types of employees. We've had a struggle in the last year or so. We've been fortunate, I think this year, to speak to that. We'll be fully staffed at the engineering level for the first time, I think, in a dozen years. Do we need better pay to retain these people? I think that's something that we need to discuss. CDL drivers are in high demand. You see the signs on the highways, $10,000 sign bonuses to work with UPS, FedEx, etc. That is still a struggle, but we're hoping that we'll be fully staffed. And if we're fully staffed, we can respond, we can do everything. It's getting people into.
Madam Chair, just wait.
Please continue.
About laborers,
Laborers will be fully staffed. We just hired 5 more. We should be fully staffed with laborers as of right now.
because I think we all know as city council people, and, you know, city council, people don't worry most of the time. Just, like I said, that's, you know, the administration, I know, tells you guys as the director, pay money yet. Sometimes it's not money. So, the positions that we need.
Thank you, sir. Madam Auditor, you had a question?
Councilman Vargas.
Councilman Vargas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director, can we have employees with non-CDL licenses? Can we use them in the meantime, like, because you say that we have a huge big board in the highway, $10,000. I want to take the license tomorrow and go to work with them. But in the meantime, can we hire people that they don't have no license and then work with them and play around to go take the license if they need it?
That's what we do. So, and that's what the laborers are for. So basically, we hire people as laborers, and during the course of their time frame, they're given a certain time period to obtain the CDL. With the hope that they will eventually become an equipment operator, heavy equipment operator, etc. What we have done, and I think what needs to be done, not just now, but going forward into the future, we need to think about the ramifications about the inability to get CDL drivers, is to look at our fleet in the long run. Right now, we have a number of trucks, 32, 34 of them, that are 6-wheel trucks that are used in the winter time. We're plowing, salting. We've leased 10 additional trucks, some of them state of Rhode Island, that are non-CDL operated trucks, similar in size. No air brake, no under the weight classification. So we're able to put laborers in those trucks and plow and salt during the winter. What we need to do is look long-term and say, as a fleet ages, we need to swap out some of those trucks and buy those newer stack trucks that don't require the CDL. I think one of the biggest problems we have, maybe unsaid, but I think we're seeing it nationwide, as marijuana is becoming more legal, whether it's medicinal or recreational. People are not unable to pass the drug test, which is mandatory at the CDL level. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that everyone is seeing nationwide, why that license is such high.
So they don't need a license anyway, but the test, if they not use it.
Right, exactly. You just need a regular driver's license.
What about he goes up?
Well, you need to have a CDL license, but if you have to pass the drug test, then you're not going to be able to obtain that CDL license.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. You all set?
Oh, sir, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Where were we?
I had a question.
Somewhere.
Oh, yes, auditor, please.
Looking at this org chart. Can you explain the org chart? I mean, everyone in that top row, are they all equal? Because they all report to you. So here's my main question. You want to give the deputy director a 2-grade increase, but she has no one to.
No, for sake of space, she reports directly to me, and then everyone else reports to myself and or the deputy director.
You get it. You got to show that because it looks like she doesn't have any responsibility other than reporting to you.
No, she has the
So-
same responsibility as me, whether I'm there or not.
So if you are on vacation, does she become you and does everyone report up to her?
Exactly.
Did that position exist before? Is this a new position?
Deputy director's been there for at least 2, maybe 3 budget seasons now.
But it's never been filled?
It's been filled. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a job description?
Yes, we do.
Does she have a change in duties to warrant a 2 grade increase? Or why did you, all right, what is the proposed raise for?
I think it's just experience and what she's been doing as the deputy director. I think that's commensurate with that, with the responsibilities.
Okay.
Okay, so to the auditor's point, this is not drafted correctly, so she should be above the line.
Above one, and everyone else is equal.
And well, the assistant, I'm thinking the administrative assistant should be above the line too, reporting to you, and then everybody else below. Okay. So what other positions have increased in administration that's on this chart? What are those?
I believe the chief engineer has increased.
That's in the engineering division, just
Just
administration.
administration is
Just the deputy.
That's the only one. Do you have any other questions on the work chart? Okay. Any further questions on the administration budget? No? Okay, let's move to the next piece. Thank you.
The next division we have is engineering and sanitation. This division salaries are going to $704,132, an increase of $43,691. This division has 2 proposed increases. One is for the chief engineer, going from an 825 to an 826. And the deputy chief engineer increased from 823 to an 825.
Councilman Nanducci, yes.
With these, both reasons increases. Are we relying on this ARPA funding to fund these positions with these increases? Because what scares me if we are, that's all over good for next year. But in 2023, I'm sorry, 2024.
So that is correct. We do have in the city's proposed 23 budget, we do have money in there from ARPA to support general government services. Yeah.
So that's, I guess that's my question. So, but I don't want to see us giving increases now that, and I know I'm jumping ahead of you, but I'm a resident of Providence. At 2024, we're going to be getting equal because we gave a lot of these reasons out to the ARPA.
Well, I maybe the director can speak more. I don't think we're giving raises because of ARPA. I think it's more for.
I didn't say because it's the funding we're using is part of the ARPA funding. I mean, I think I'm right to say that we're showing a surplus here because of the amount of ARPA funding that's in the budget right now. For next year, overall. In 2024, we're not going to have that extra funding. I don't want to have this, and not me, I will be a councilman at the time. Again, I'm a Providence resident. If that's the case, then moving forward in 2024, how do we make up the funding to make sure that these positions and everything else that we're doing in the budget is going to be, it will be funded without killing our taxpayers.
Right, so we have ARPA for the next 2 fiscal years. So we'll have ARPA funding for 23 and 24 as we try to contain the budget and find new revenue sources, grow revenue sources to try to get ourselves in a position where we're not relying on ARPA anymore. So the 23 budget has ARPA in it. The 24 budget will have a lesser amount, and
I'm just very concerned, Chairman, I'm just very concerned moving forward that, you know, where we obviously, and we are, we're relying on office funding for the next 2 years. And then I said 2024, I'm sorry, 2025. You know, it wasn't pretty sure. I think.
Yeah, and just to
What scares me is, you know, again, we looking at a surplus, and then in 2025, crack this fan, and it's like, well, yeah, for me to on. Yeah.
You want to try to answer
Yeah.
that?
Oh, so yeah, so I think that's a very valid point, Councilman, and it's something that we in finance have been significantly concerned with. And so when we proposed the amount of ARPA we would need to support general government services, we tried to be as conservative as possible and take as little money as we would need to support the services that our general fund provides. And when we allocated that out over a 3-year period, we did it on a declining scale. So in fiscal 22, we used about $19 million to support general government services. We backed that down to $16 million in fiscal 23, and in fiscal 24, it's going to go down to around $13 million, I believe, so that we're able to slowly lessen that gap, to my finance director's point, and hopefully build up revenues from other sources in that time period to offset that. If that's the, hopefully, and there is some certainly projections and conjecture in there, but at the same time, we do know that while we did bring departmental revenues in the most part up to where we were at pre-pandemic level, we have not captured or seen any growth in those departmental revenues. So our assumption and belief is that in fiscal 23, we'll see those departmental services begin to not only reach pre-pandemic levels, but begin to see the growth that we would naturally assume to see in them, and that growth that we could expect would offset the ARPA revenue that we've been relying on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just, I wanted to let the record to show my concerns about the future, because
Point taken. We
right
get,
now, diesel fuels up over $6 a gallon, it's not going down. You know what I mean? So I don't see anything going down.
okay, we have let the record reflect that, thank you for the question. We have Ken Cheverini, our solicitor, has joined the meeting. Thank you. We weren't whole without you, so we're thrilled that you're with us.
It's nice to feel wanted.
We're gonna have questions for you, so I want you to pay attention.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, please continue.
Okay, so moving on to benefits. Benefits are budgeted at the finance level, and they're not the responsibility of the.
Did you have a question, Madam Auditor, on, was it sick leave on this? On this one, 580? Is there a question?
No, I spoke to the deputy finance director, and it's just a technical error that they're gonna make the adjustment. That sick leave really shouldn't be there. It was
Okay,
just
so
a
that is
repeat of the
gonna get
longevity.
removed. Okay, all right, I'm sorry, please continue.
And so benefits have been budgeted with 100% of the pension and medical budget payment. Moving on to services, there's an increase in maintenance of service of $1,000 for a total maintenance and service line item budget of $4,000. And the rest of services and supplies have been level funded with fiscal year 22.
All right, and the next one? I think what I'd like to do, if I can, is let's get through all of the 3 box reports, then we're gonna ask you guys questions, because there's just a lot here, and we could be here all night long. So, did you have any questions, Councilman?
Well, I did.
No, go ahead.
When I look at the overtime, sick leave, vacation, and callbacks, 2023, 2022, 2023, and 2024, the overtime is staying the same at $10,000. How do we project that staying the same? And then all the other ones, 2022, 2023, 2024, we zeros across the board. Can that be explained quick and then?
No, that's a good question.
Are you, the sick and vacation and holiday are zero? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
I can answer that if
The
you.
overtime staying the same, the sick leave, obviously you can't because you're on overtime. Like the holidays. The callbacks, obviously, okay, correct.
Right, so salaries,
I guess one of the majors would be the overtime, I was projecting to have the overtime. They stay the same for 3 years.
well,
But we don't know what kind of overtime is going to be coming up, correct?
we don't, but the department determines what they feel the overtime budget that they need for the year is. And looking back over time in 2020, we spent 9,600. In 21, we only spent $797. And this year we're projecting to spend around 5,000. So I can turn it over to
Yeah, that just doesn't sound like an awful lot of overtime. Is that counting snow removal overtime too? Because I know a lot of these guys come in at one night.
Right, yeah, this is strictly for engineering, so that's a separate, but
Okay.
snow overtime is
I'm sorry.
totally separate.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No worries.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue.
next division we have is environmental control. This is a revenue generating.
What is environmental control?
So environmental control is a division that handles inspections of trash cans, road grading, waste management, recycling, trash pickup.
Which
Companies.
Is that different than engineering and sanitation? It's its own,
Yes,
Six.
please continue, I'm sorry.
Revenues budgeted at 71,500. That's an increase of 16,500 over the 22 budget. And this revenue is generated from the sale of garbage and recycling receptacles. Moving on to salaries, total salaries is budgeted at $523,332. It's an increase of $9,991. There are no personnel requests in this division, so any increase that you see to salaries is just a 2.5% 1033 proposed increase. Employee benefits are not the purview of the department. And moving through services, refuse processing is $3,698,888. This represents an increase of $176,138. Pest control is budgeted level funded with fiscal 22 at 15,000. Recycling pickup is budgeted at $3,553,506. This is an increase of $277,506. Waste recycling education level funded 50,000. Private contractors is budgeted at 270,000. This is a $95,000 increase over fiscal 22. Garbage.
What's that increase relative? What is that about? Private contractor, $95,000 increase.
Yeah, so that is for trash cans, additional trash cans to purchase. So we have about 47,000 households that we service in the city. So we double that number for trash and recycling. Most of them are 10 years old or older. We're replacing anywhere between 100 and 150 a week. Whether
What's the life?
Councilman?
Sorry. What's the lifespan on this? Are we at that?
Oh, yeah, we're 5-6 years is good. A lot of them are
Do
beyond
we
that.
have, are we replacing all of them like we did?
So we're
years, 10 years
replacing
ago?
as we go along. We couldn't replace everything all at once. It would just be, the cost would be astronomical. So what we do is we replace Cans that are broken, we do that for free. And cans that are missing, you have to pay $50 to replace those cans. It costs us right now about $70 per can to purchase one. That includes freight, and freight is going up. Obviously, due to increasing fuel prices and transportation costs. So that's the, unfortunately, we take a loss on that. At this time, we have decided not to increase that cost, but I think sometime in the future, if the costs remain that high, we'll have to look at increasing the replacement costs for someone who's needing a new can that doesn't have one.
Okay, we do-
Just a quick follow-up on that.
Yeah, please.
How about the ones waste management destroys? Why are we responsible for?
We're not, so they're responsible.
I seen a guy just the other day on Lincoln Street smashing down his spot on the ground and he busted the wheel off recycled it.
No, they need to notify us and we notify them and they have to replace it. But we just need to know about it. You let us know.
I'll send you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm sorry, I jumped in and started asking questions. Let's continue and then we'll get all of our questions answered at the back end of this.
Next line is garbage pickup. It's budgeted at $4,173,000, and this is an increase of $24,000 over the 22 budget. Miscellaneous expenses and small tool shop supplies are level funded with fiscal year 22. Moving on to the next division, we have sewer. We are level funding revenue in this department for sewer at $11,000. Salaries in the sewer division are budgeted at $477,028. This is an increase of $7,620. There are no personnel requests included in this budget. Moving down to supplies. Small tool shops and supplies is level funded at $7,000. Construction, maintenance and supplies is budgeted at $100,000. This is an increase of $85,000. Gravel and sand and special castings are both level funded with fiscal 22, as well as structures and improvements at $50,000. Those are the three boxes.
This is a highway, right? Biggest highway?
Madam Chair, can I?
Yes, Madam Auditor, please.
So we only brought in divisions that I actually had questions out. They were pretty level budgeted. There were no increases. If there were no changes other than wage, the contractual wage increase, I did not want to waste the committee's
Thank
time
you.
and bring them in for that reason only. So we kind of just, but if you have any questions that you would like me to research, I'd be more than happy to do so with any department that is not called before finance. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Madam Auditor. Okay, folks, so thank you very much for the presentation, the financial presentation. Does anyone have any particular questions on the financial presentation? What I'd like to do is go through the organizational chart for each division and department and talk about what's going on, what the needs are, what the challenges are, and essentially justify your budget for us.
Financial? Financial question?
Yes, please.
In environmental, you have a alternate work week in there. How are you eliminating that? Do they not work alternate work week?
There's one person, alternate working.
But it was zeroed out. That's,
It shouldn't be. There's only one person, Chris Jackson. He works Saturday, Tuesday to Saturday.
and if he's not there, does anyone work the alternate the other week? No, it's,
Yeah, he's out somewhere, pinch it for him, yeah. So
all right,
that's
so,
not
yeah, you had,
zeroed
all
out.
right, so it was 2,500 for fiscal 22, it went to 0 in 23.
That should not be zeroed.
All right, it's okay,
Thank you.
just you'll overspend, but that's, you have to do it contractually, I just want to make sure that, okay, thank you.
Good catch.
Just on the finance side, the discussion about the garbage cans, trash cans. So we've got 95,000 in one bucket. What is the $24,000 increase about? Garbage pickup cost. $24,000 increase stated.
All right, so that's garbage pickup, so that is waste management contract, so the contract goes up minimally. Right, year. That's contractual.
So that's a contractual increase for waste
Is
management.
that waste management? Or is that for
We. For refuge processing.
reference processing should be,
Put out a resource.
resource recovery, garbage pickup and waste recycling should be, waste management.
Are you all right with that? Madam Auditor?
I see the residential collection services going up 24,000. Is that the increase?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Auditor. All right, so garbage cans, we have waste management contractually has to provide a certain number of garbage cans, correct?
They provide us with, according to the contract, $32,000 worth of reimbursement so that we can use for purchase of replacement garbage.
Okay, so is that in addition to the 95 or is that
That's an addition.
in addition? Okay, where does the $32,000 that they provide us show up?
It shows up in the contract, it does not show here.
Okay, who holds them accountable for those 32?
That's
Okay, do we have an accounting of what they provided to us? Can you provide that to the auditor, please? Okay. And then how do we replace those garbage cans? Is it based on people calling in, going in through the website? How does that
Yeah,
happen?
so basically 95% of them go through the 311 system or through our government online system where they can just put their information in. And they put the serial number in if it's a replacement of their old cans and we verify that, yes, they have a can and we replace it for free. If it's someone with a new structure or the can is no longer present, they need to pay for that can. That information is also indicated in that system. So if it's a broken can, we replace it for free. If it's a new can, it costs us $50 to the resident. So we lose under the current system somewhere around $20 if we do free. As I said earlier, we may need to look to that in the future if the prices continue to escalate and pass that along. But right now, we're on the losing side of that.
Okay. Yes, Councilman.
Can I ask a question on the highway? Dumpster fees from 2020 is 28,000. 2022 we shot up only 100,000. 2023 2024. Why have we shot that?
Okay, so what we're looking to do is, we didn't do it last year, is we're looking to pass along a dumpster licensing fee to businesses to make them register their dumpster with the city. So that would be instituted. We didn't do it the previous years. We were hoping to pass along an additional cost to businesses that were burdened at that time. So that's what that increase is showing. There would be a minimal fee.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Councilman, Rose?
Thank you, Marcia. Follow up the question, but we have a fee for $25 here. Where is the fee goes? The $25 that we,
That fee,
every small business you open, the city says has a $25 fee, it's called leader fee. Where does $25 go?
a litter fee,
$25.
that doesn't have a litter fee.
It hurts me, I got, we have a business, they charge me $25.
Who charges you? The state? For what then?
It's called leader fee.
Litter fee?
Yeah, if you have a small business, Cedar Grove, like a small store, small market, charge
For
leader.
the board of licenses?
Mhm.
So I'm not aware of that.
So if you try to implement another fee for dumpster fee, we had to see where the $25 are going.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the board of licenses.
Madam Monitor?
Councilman, the litter fee under environmental is $500, I believe.
That's a
So
fine,
if it's,
that's a
it's,
fine.
it's a
That's
fine,
fine.
right?
No, no,
Oh,
it's
fee.
not a fine, it's a license.
Oh.
If you have a business, you have to have a license, leader fee, it's called. I get your copy.
I'm not aware of it. Thank you.
Okay, we can look into that, Councilman. Madam Monitor, do you have a question regarding recycling?
Get back to environmental control. I knew one of these was off. Recycling pickup. It's only going up $12,000 in the contract. It's going from $273 a month to $274 a month. Yet you have a $277,000 increase. Yard debris is not going up.
I
It's
believe that should be, yard debris should be included in one of those.
yard debris. Yep, yeah, but yard debris is not changing in cost. In contractually, it's not changing.
Because yard debris is not included in any of it, so I think that's built into it. If you
But
add
last
it
year,
together.
yard debris was still 77,000 per month, and it's still 77,000 per month this year. So there's no change in yard debris. It's just an increase in the recyclable collections.
Right, but what I'm getting at, I think the yard debris is built into the recycling pickup total. So if you add it all together, I think it adds up to the,
Should still be $12,000 more. However you add it together, it would still be $12,000
What I'm
a
getting at
year.
is, if you add up what we're supposed to be charging for recycling, and you add up the yard debris together,
Mhm.
what does that number come to?
I'm okay with that number. When you add it together, so 273 plus 77
Mhm.
is 350.
54, off the top of my head.
All right, so it's gonna be 354 the next year. So it's
No, it's gonna be
12,000,
364. 12,000 more, 365.
this is only 1,000 per month more.
Oh, 1,000 per month, I'm sorry, okay, so 3,
Doesn't seem right.
365 a month?
And it was 364 this year, it's gonna be 365 next year.
mhm.
48.
For some reason, it looks like we're going to exceed the budget. I don't know how that's possible, but.
So you add. So it's 290,
Actually, it's going to short, that's not how I do that.
So,
3480. For. So the recycle, so the waste, yeah, waste 77,000, comes to 924 a year. Right?
Is everyone looking at the contract or
That's
the
right.
amendment one?
Yeah. So
Does everyone see how
so-
it only changes $12,000?
So $77,000 per period, monthly cost for yard waste, 77,000. So that comes to 924. 924,000, right? Then if we do recycling. This is 3288. Four, two, one, two.
So we didn't budget enough.
Or maybe, I'm not sure which one, it's got to be incorporated into one of these.
Okay,
That's the
so
way it should be.
there's a short, it's a negative number, it's short. You need to look at that again.
we added 290. There's 348.
Okay,
So the
so we'll
total should
relook
be-
at that.
Total should be 348 for waste, 924 for yard waste, and what was that figure? 3288 for recycling. Add all those three together. That's what the total should be for garbage and recycling.
So you're gonna follow up with them, right, Madam
One
Auditor?
way or the other, it doesn't
It
matter.
does- Yeah, it's not adding up correctly. Whatever was presented. Okay. Okay, I don't have any more questions in that, on that topic. Are there any other financial questions, Councilman, Taylor?
I got two, mattresses, where do we stand on that? All right, then collect next year, January 1st, or?
So here's the situation. Under the contract, they're required to provide a free mattress program. Pickup. We discussed this with them at length. They have indicated to us, and I expressed this to the chief of staff, Mr. Lombardi, the other day, that they think that due to rising costs, transportation, labor, etc., they sent us a letter, they're seeking a increase in the current contract. The city, they want to claw back on the mattress program and the trash program, the free trash cans. Right? The city's position is, we have the same contract,
Good for,
3 years, with an option to renew for year 4 and year 5.
What is the value of the contract that we're in right now?
Oh, it should be right there, it's significant.
41.
And the cost of the contract, it's 33 million. 33.7. If you look on
Say it again,
second
please.
page, 33.7 million. And like, if we go for full term, 5 years,
Where are we?
we are now entering year 3, July 1.
So we have 2 more years on this contract.
If everyone agrees to renew. Once again, it's a mutual.
When is that
I
up for
believe
renewal?
that comes, everyone has to indicate that they are wishing to renew by January, I think 6 months prior to.
January? This coming January, okay. Madam Auditor, you have a question on that?
I thought that we did agree to the extension, and that's why we got what we got at the price we got.
So what we did, so if I can refresh everyone's memory, I'll give you the full travels quickly. The city was looking for a 1-year deal. Waste management was looking for a 5-year deal. We came to negotiations, we came upon an agreement for a 2-year deal. We went to the council, and rightfully so, to make it, instead of a 2-year deal with 3 1-year options, to make it a 3-year deal with 2 1-year options, where the 3rd year would expire commitment at the same time frame with the new administration. And what we did was we were able to put some of the give back money in portions of year 2, 100,000 on January 1, and 150 to come in on July 1 of this year. And then 250 would come in year 4 on July 1, and 250 would come in year 5 on July 1. The options to renew usually 6 months prior to. So that's where we stand. So they've indicated that due to the economic conditions, inflation, et cetera, they're looking to claw back that money and look for increases for current year that we're in the new year.
Who manages the contract?
DPW does.
Who in DPW manages the contract?
I take full responsibility for it.
Who manages them day to day?
In terms of what?
Their duties under the contract to pick up trash.
That's, that.
The
that
Providence
falls-
City Council has
that-
gotten into
that
the
falls-
trash.
That falls under.
The
environmental.
Providence City Council has gotten into the trash business because all we do every week is call in missed trash pickups. The yard waste, we're paying them how much a month? $77,000 to pick up yard waste that they miss, that the city has to go out and pick up. So they're not performing under the contract?
That is the reason why we don't see it being viable to turn all the mattresses over to them. Because if you see what they do with yard waste, can you imagine if every single mattress was to be picked up like that?
Do the mattresses have to be in a bag?
Councilman
They have to
Taylor?
be in a bag,
They do have to be.
they have to be in a bag, and that's their requirement. So
Who supplies the bag?
the owner does. So we're better off right now, under the way the contract is written. If someone has had the mattress picked up by waste management, we're better off getting the list from waste management, which we've requested from them. Find out who had their mattress picked up and reimbursing that person directly from the city using those proceeds. Rather than having waste management manage it, because number one, I don't trust that it'll be done properly. And number two, I don't think that they would be able, if that was escalated. Right now, generally speaking, waste management stops at around 2,600 households annually for mattresses pick up. DPW stops at 3,100. We do it for free.
So
And the
what-
reason why we do it for free is typically people don't bag it. So it's not bagged, waste management's not picking it up. They don't call into waste management. Landlords throw mattresses out when people move out, they don't know who to call. We get calls from council people, we get calls from constituents, we get calls from everywhere. So we pick up 3,100 mattresses on our own. And then another 7,000-8,000 get dropped off at DPW every Saturday.
And then how many adults?
So what we've done, okay, so here's the difference, if we've made a huge improvement. So in years past, those mattresses that we picked up off the side of the road, or that were brought to DPW, we would average anywhere between 13 and 16 tons of mattresses that we would have to dispose of at $2,000 a ton. That's somewhere around $330,000 a year that we would have to pay out. We've reduced that number now to anywhere between 2 and 3 tons a month on average since September of last year. And what improvements have we made? A couple things. When those mattresses come in from off the street, dumped illegally or in front of someone's house, we put them aside, we put them in a dumpster with a tarp, we dry them out. The biggest issue with mattresses being rejected, that are no good to be recycled, wet. We dry them out, they're recycled. So we have 2 containers at DPW, box trucks. They're picked up by the Mattress Recycling Council every week. Anywhere between 250 to 300 mattresses are carried off for free every week. So now we've reduced that number to average 2 or 3 tons per month at $2,000 a ton. You know, over the course of the year, we're going to see somewhere around $260,000 annually, just by changing how we operate. And that was instituted by our Director of Environmental Services and our Highway Division Superintendent.
Are you all set, Councilman Taylor? Are you
Well,
done with
yeah,
your
I just,
questioning on
I
that
just, I
topic?
just want to reiterate, I think, not as a city council we come into the trash business, I think highway department and DPW has become into the trash business, yeah.
We
Because-
have, there's no question about
Because,
that.
you know, I send over a list every Monday, it's ridiculous, and then constantly there's dumping and trash, bulk items, whatever, you know. And
I would much
do we have a
prefer-
problem with bulk items with waste management?
They do, there's been a significant increase in bulk items that they picked up, and that's one of the reasons why they're saying that they want an increase. Some of that is due to the pandemic. We're limited to 3 items per household. I think people try to go above and beyond that at times. But yeah, there's no question DPW is in the trash business. There's no doubt that we dedicate a great deal of our time in taking care of trash. I would much prefer that if we were able to just use a portion of that money, if we find that, for instance, okay, we're gonna manage that mattress money internally, and whatever waste management does, they pick up, okay, we'll reimburse those residents directly, and we find that we have 150,000 extra, or 175,000 extra, or whatever it is. I would much prefer to reinvest that money in a bigger mattress truck, so we can pick up more mattresses, in buying mattress bags that can be used by residents as a whole, rather than a select few benefiting. Getting people to observe the mattress disposal guidelines has been very difficult. Some of that's due to absentee landlords. When they get a tenant, move out, they're cleaning out their unit. They're not paying attention to who they need to call, when they need to call. People don't want to wait for waste management, because waste management only picks up once a week on a Monday. DPW picks up every day. And I can understand residents not wanting that mattress to be out there. It doesn't present a good look for anybody. It sits out there, it attracts rodents, it attracts more dumping. The quicker we pick it up, the better it is. So if waste management's only picking up once a week, and we add on to their numbers that they need to pick up, they don't have the capacity to do it. They barely have the capacity to handle yard waste, as we see. Right, we get more complaints about yard waste, they miss stops. Imagine if we gave all the mattresses to them to pick up, and people have to bag it. You'd be in worse shape than you are now.
What are we doing to hold them accountable for missed pickups?
We contact them on a regular basis. The problem that we have is if we were to find them, which is an option, they also have, according to the contract, people are supposed to have their can lids closed at all times. They're not supposed to pick up any can that has an open lid.
And they don't.
And sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do. And if they don't, that presents a problem for us as a city. Because we know as a city, a lot of people overflow their cans. And we need to take a hard look at whether or not the change that was made, I think it was, I want to say a decade ago, some of us have been here that long, when we went to the 65. Gina. We went to-
Apparently, he's directing his
No.
testimony to you, Gene, and I'm a little concerned.
when we went to the 65-gallon cans, there was a significant shift in terms of habits and what we're doing. And I think the analysis that we've done is we've shown that that may not have been the most prudent action to take. We need to look at that. I'll give you some sort of a little bit off topic, but it's on topic. Recycling. We have found that basically the routes are established by waste management. They're not established by us. They were established them decades ago. And we continue to have problems with recycling. People put plastic bags in their recycling, that seems to be the biggest culprit. We looked at the routes and said, where do we think we can get clean loads versus where loads are getting contaminated? Let's segregate the single family section of a route. Make that, pick it up. We won't inspect it. We'll inspect the area that is predominantly multi-family. We're doing it, some of it in Ward 5 right now. We're doing some of it in.
You're not picking up garbage in Ward 5 right now. I don't know what you're segregating, but you're missing.
Recycle, right? And we're doing it, and I think we know this way, Reservoir Triangle area. What we found, and this was anecdotal, but we found it to be true. The areas that are predominantly single family, they were recycling properly, there's no issues. The areas that are multi-family, they're the culprits, and we need to do a lot of work in those areas. So what we're trying to convince waste management to do, and we need to work on this, whether it's them or someone in the future. I think it's better that the city reconfigure the routes and make them so that they're more holistic in terms of what they represent. Sort of like what we do politically, we redistrict, right? We redistrict the city every 10 years. I think what we need to do is redistrict some of these routes so that you have more homogeneous areas that are predominantly single family. They will pass and they'll get their roads recycled, whereas other areas that are not will not. The problem we're having now is those areas are contaminating those areas that are single family, and we're getting whole days rejected when we should be getting a portion of that day accepted. Just
So
by
let's get-
changing what we do.
So let's, just 1 second, please. I'd like to get back to the question that I asked you. Why are we missing so many streets with our waste management pickups? We're missing street after street, week after week. And what is the explanation for that? Who is holding them accountable?
We hold them accountable every day. We call them out on it. They miss because of trucks going down. They miss because of labor issues. Those are the biggest
They
culprits.
stop sometimes during the middle of the day. Is that a broken truck?
Typically that is.
So when that happens, when is their resource, what is their contingency plan? Don't they have additional trucks they can send up to finish the route?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they have to come back the following day, sometimes it's so late in the day, the landfill's closed, so they can't retain that garbage for the night, so they have to come back the next day. We see the issue as you do. We get equally frustrated. All I can say is that right now, they are the biggest hauler in the state. Whether anyone else has the capability of being able to handle the city of our size is doubtful.
Have we ever put together a proposal? Have you put together a
We
proposal
did.
on an alternate plan other than having waste management?
We did go out to bid a couple of years ago, and they were the only bidders.
Can we do it? Can the city do it? What would that look like?
I think that would be problematic at best. If anybody's been following the news, Warwick has their own hauling. They have the same types of issues that Waste Management has. The trucks break down. They have labor issues. I think it's a huge gearing up that we would have to do. We would need an area to store vehicles, a sizable fleet, we need a sizable number of employees. That would bring us back to probably to the mid-1970s.
I think that we need, whatever it costs, whatever the need is, we need to do an analysis because there's something wrong. The waste management contract, it's not working. You're telling us they want an increase. I don't know how we can justify paying them what we're paying them now because they're not doing the job. They're not doing the job on regular trash. They're not helping us with the recycling program. Clearly, there's a problem with the mattress pickup program. They're failing on every front. And, you know, I'm at wit's end on it. Councilman Aducci, you have a question?
First of all, I think it's absolutely freaking ridiculous that you have to put a mattress outside in a bag and they don't supply the bag. Who
How do you get a bag?
has a bag that big to put a mattress in?
Well, actually, you buy
Not
it,
even,
those Home Depot.
not that big, you can't.
Yeah, you can, they sell them specifically.
Yeah, but
Oh,
that's
bags.
ridiculous. That's totally ridiculous.
Yeah, with all due respect, Councilman, it's done statewide. It's a requirement.
Well, no, it's not done statewide. No.
It is.
No, it's not. Excuse me 1 second. My son lives in Lincoln and can put anything out in front of his house, anything, that he gets picked up.
Oh,
Whether it's a mattress, a couch, a chair, anything. My son, and again, you talked about lids being open, that's, they don't pick it up when lids are open. They don't, which again is totally ridiculous, okay? If I have a party at my house and I have extra trash and I only have one garbage barrel, and I have to leave my little, and then the garbage isn't picked up. Now what happens? I call you guys to come and pick up my garbage. I think we're too lenient with waste management, period, okay? The other thing, and you know, because I call you all the time, when you have, I want to just use an area, for instance, when you have an area like near PC College, that at the end of every school year, those streets are loaded with trash. And the landlords are getting away with not worrying about picking it up. Waste management's not picking it up. You guys respond to pick it up. We have to make the landlords more responsible. I've gone through 332 Hawkins Street now with you, and you know for a fact, because when I call you, you automatically know the address. To where we even took the garbage bins out with the understanding that they had to get a private guy to do it. They hired a private guy to do it, the garbage still isn't being picked up. You guys had to come and clean up after finding the property. It just baffles me because again, what really gets me is how they can come down the right-hand side of Dorothy Avenue and pick up all the garbage. But yet the left-hand side of Dorothy Avenue doesn't get done. And when I call Chico and I'm told, like you said, about the truck going down, well, if they already went down one side, how is the outside left behind?
Well, I can't explain to them, I'm sure they have points, right?
What I'm
And,
saying
you know,
is,
because you have to go up and down the streets.
And why is it the same streets all the time doing that garbage pickups that are not getting done? I think what we should do with waste management is like we do with the homeowners. We have a citation sheet. And if they're not picking up recycling, you draw from their contract. If our guys have to go picking up after them, that comes out of our budget, and it should be. It should be coming out of the waste management budget. I disagreed with their contract for years. You know that, everybody on the finance committee knows that. If they're accepting the duties, if one of your employees, your union employee, or management employee is not doing their job, what do? You bring them in, you read them the riot act. If it happens again, you terminate. I agree with Chairwoman Ryan saying that we really need to look into a solution. Because, you know, when you see the same things happen over and over, and I mean, and I'm not blaming DPW, because you guys do come back and pick the stuff up for us. I mean, but to have them turn around and say to us, we're not picking up mattresses unless they're in plastic bags, that's a little off the wall. That's a little off the wall.
Well, unfortunately, you know, they're doing it for the protection of their employees. So, but, you know,
I know what you're saying.
I can't dictate to them how their employees handle the mattresses. If they feel that,
Big up gloves,
whatever, but that's their policy.
which is,
I
but it's ridiculous.
But our employees pick up all of them.
Yeah.
We do that.
Not in bags.
Right, we do, we do it. So we go the extra mile. We do that.
So it's good enough for our guys to pick them up, not be in bags. But now we switch.
But that's, you know, that's their call.
And
So with that said,
how's 80-year-old Mary Smith gonna put a mattress in the garbage bag?
Councilman, I don't disagree with you, but that's the problem with creating a free program that will be operated by waste management. It's not gonna be successful.
Oh, no, I don't disagree about it.
Okay,
It's not gonna be successful because of the disparities that you have, because of people's inability to comply, because of people's lack of knowledge. You know, you have landlords who just throw mattresses out, they don't know who to call. So we have a major disparity. I put some maps, you can see, I presented to the committee. This is what we picked up, this is what DPW picked up in 2020.
Hold on a second, can we get this distributed? Just-
And a similar map for 2021.
You need to distribute, we gotta go through the clerk, please, so that everybody has the same. I don't even have anything in front of me right now, so let's have the clerk distribute whatever Mr. Parada wants us to look at.
What you looking at when you see the maps, what you're seeing is.
Hold on, Mr. Parada, is this all you have for us to look at? Does you have anything else? Okay, as Councilman Narducci suggested, everybody have a copy? Everybody has a copy?
Would you like to, wonderful.
Okay. Oh, there's more coming?
One for 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. 2020, 2020.
Okay. Okay. That's it, 20 and 21, correct? Okay.
So what we've done.
So hold on a second, please. May I have a motion to enter these maps presented by Leo Parada? We have 2021 and 2020 in front of us. Let's call this exhibit 1 to this item. Motion made by Councilman Narducci, seconded by Councilman Taylor. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Ayes have
What
it.
was the exhibit number?
What is the
It should be
exhibit you
3.
want? It should be 3?
Yes.
Take back your motion.
Motion to amend.
Motion to withdraw your exhibit, and you're gonna call this exhibit 3, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Seconded by Councilman Taylor. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. We have these as exhibit 3 in the record. So please, Mr. Parada, tell me what you're looking at.
Okay, so what you're looking at here, every black square or dot represents a location that the Providence Public Works went to in that given year to pick up a mattress. The same thing for 2020 and the same for 2021. It could be 2 mattresses at a location, it could be 1 mattress at a location, it could be 4 at a location. The dot just represents.
And how much, remind me how much we're paying Waste Management to pick up mattresses?
So the mattress is being picked up by Waste Management, is being paid by the individual. I believe it's $26.78 per mattress when it's picked up. So that's built into the contract, the person pays.
Leo, I'm asking you the questions. Please direct your
Yeah,
testimony to me, please.
$26.78 per mattress.
The constituent is paying that, and how is that getting, Waste Management gets it directly?
Directly.
I thought it was a free waste man, I thought it was a free program.
No, so the program that we wanted to create was to reimburse the individual come this January.
So that's not in place now.
Now in place now, the problem is managing it and how to do that.
Hold on a second, Madam Auditor.
The way I understood it was the constituent will call Waste Management, pay them nothing, and Waste Management will submit a bill to the city. It was $26.78 times however many mattresses they picked up. So nothing came out of that person's pocket, so we don't have to reimburse. We just pay Waste Management out of the mattress fund, which should have about 100,000 in there right now.
And they
So
have
we're,
not-
there's no reimbursing to constituents, it's reimbursing Waste
Right,
Management,
right,
huge
they have not
difference.
done that, and the reason why they have not done that, as I stated earlier, is they want to claw back that money because they feel they have shortfalls due to increasing costs, wages, et cetera.
Okay, so speaking of
Our
clawbacks,
argument is we want the money, we'll reimburse those individuals.
speaking of clawbacks, Solicitor Chavarini. Are you with us, Solicitor?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Have you heard this testimony regarding
Yes,
the mattress program? And
Yes, I
Waste
have.
Management wanting to claw back money? Have you
I
heard
heard.
this? And what is your thoughts on this?
Well, let me look at the contract. That it seems like a violation of the agreement that we have with them. So
Okay.
let me look at it and advise. I don't know if Mr. Parada has been speaking with anybody in my office, but I certainly will have that conversation with him as early as tomorrow.
So can I ask that you work with the solicitor's office, review the contract, and once again, we need to hold Waste Management accountable for the terms of the contract.
Sure.
You stated yourself, DPW is now in the waste management business. The city council is in the waste management business. Waste management company is looking for an additional money from us, from the city. I can tell you today unequivocally, if this contract came before the council today, it would not be approved. There is not one council person that is happy, satisfied. Everyone is upset by it. Every resident of the city of Providence is upset by the lack of service that we are getting from Waste Management. It's completely unacceptable. So I don't know what you need to do. I'm going to ask you to work with the solicitor's office, renegotiate with them, but I'm fed up. Everyone is fed up with it. It's not working. And taxpayers, they're looking at, increases in the assessed value of their homes and increases in their property taxes proposed by the mayor. We can't get trash picked up without council people having to call in a list of streets every single week, a list of mattresses every single week. It's, it's broken. It's not working, and we're not accepting it anymore. So we want the solicitor and you to work together with Waste Management to bring them into compliance with the contract that is already signed. And I am asking you, as the director, Mr. Parada, to put together a proposal that might not include Waste Management, of how we effectively and efficiently get the garbage off of our streets and our mattresses picked up, because that's the reality and that's the service that people expect. I heard my colleague talk about a 90-year-old or an 80-year-old woman putting a mattress in a bag. That's what we deal with as council people. Our policies and procedures have to reflect the needs of the people of the city of Providence. So I'd ask you to put a plan together that makes sense. And if you want to consult with anyone, if you want my counsel or any council person's advice on it, we're ready, willing, and able, because we hear it every day. And quite frankly, we are all tired of it. It's just unacceptable. It's not working. What I wanted to bring tonight, and I didn't get a chance to, was all of the complaints that we have from Waste Management over time. And they are skyrocketing. They're not going down, they're going up. And it's not a steady, it's not a slight incline, it's an awkward pitch upward. So it's unacceptable. I don't need to belabor the point, but anyway, so that's how we're gonna leave that. But I do want to enter the 3-box reports. I neglected, Madam Clerk, what exhibit should this be? Which one? The 3-box reports.
That will be
package
4.
4, okay. May I kindly have a motion to enter this 3-box report that was presented to us by the administration's finance team as exhibit 4?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Councilman Taylor, seconded by Councilman Narducci. All in favor, aye, and opposed, ayes have it. So this is exhibit 4, and the 3 were the maps. So that's done with that. And then the other item, exhibit 5, Madam Clerk, is the waste management contract that was discussed tonight. Motion to make this exhibit 5 by Councilman Taylor, seconded by Councilman Narducci. All in favor, aye. Any opposed, ayes have it. So we have 3, 4, and 5 this evening. Okay. We've talked enough about waste management. Do you want to?
I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
When they tow, like say, abandoned vehicles, or they tow a trailer, and it's full of tires and garbage, you guys go up and take those tires and garbage out of those vehicles, or what happens?
It depends on the situation. Sometimes they tow it directly to DPW, and then we empty it, and then it's towed to the yard. In other instances, it's towed to the location and they dispose of it. It's, I mean,
With all the garbage and whatever's in it.
Yeah. Just depends on the magnitude.
Thank you.
You're all set. Councilman Vargas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The problem I see is, Director, is nobody's inspecting these West Management trucks. They just go by free for all and they do whatever they want. If we can have somebody from DPW go after them and inspect what they're doing, you will notice the damages that what they go into a trash can when they pick it up. Another problem that we have is the driver is not getting out and move the trash car to grab it. He's here, he keep going and he don't report. So like, Councilman was talking, like, it's any way that we can find them, but you send, so we notice, okay, you left so many trash behind, okay. You send highway department to pick it up, take a picture, not, and send them a picture. We don't, so to make them believe that we are watching them too, because, and it's every single day, like, every trash day, I call them, 500 number, waiting for 20 minutes for them to answer the damn phone, and then explain them what's going on. Oh yeah, we'll be done by today. Today done, never show. So 3 days later, I have to call your department to get somebody done, because for children, they left the trash out thinking that they will come back, pick it up, but they're not coming back. They're not coming back. It's a frustrated situation that we have. What's another problem that we have is they don't pick up furniture. If they see a furniture on the sidewalk, they should grab it and pick it up, because I'm sure they get paid for that, right?
You have to call it in, so it's not, there's no, tag for it, they will not pick it up.
Should be in the contract, so furniture is furniture, they should pick it up. Like they pick up debris, it's that debris. How many debris do we have in Cedar Grove? We don't have even trees to have debris. What is debris for them? Leaves, concrete, bricks? Like the word debris means for them what? What is the description of debris?
So debris, I mean, basically, you're picking up bulky items, they pick up furniture, stoves, etc. That material you're talking about is construction debris. They won't pick that up,
Right,
that's different. They won't pick up tires, that's different.
so is any way that we can get them to pick up furniture, like without calling them? They see a furniture set up, they have to show.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the policy that's been set in place for a number of years. It's 3 items per household, and you have to call it in. And they have to schedule it, because they have to schedule a certain type of truck to pick it up. So many communities, every community does it differently. Some communities have unlimited. Some communities have it once a month. Some communities have it every 6 months. Some communities have it where you have to drop it off. So every community is different, but whatever service that you're looking for, there's a price to pay for that. The more frequency there is, the more items that you pick up, the more you're gonna pay.
We have to look for a solution, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, okay, so I wanted to go over personnel. I wanted to talk about the sewer. I wanted to talk about engineering. I just want you to talk about what the challenges are. We certainly know waste management's a big challenge. Before we move on, who's going to take a list? Would you be kind enough to help us keep a running list of items that we're requesting in committee? So we've got a request to Mr. Parada to put together that proposal, as well as making a note from me that they're going to follow up with the solicitor on reviewing the contract and making sure that we're holding waste management to the terms of the contract. And we're not giving them a raise. Okay, let's go over who's going to present. Would you present this
Sure.
org chart? And in doing so, we can talk about the individual departments.
All right, so you have a number of different divisions in DPW. I'm gonna start off, because my voice is getting hoarse. I'm gonna start off with engineering. And engineering is led by the chief engineer, Greg Hoffman, and I'll defer to him.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
wonderful.
Thank you, Leo. So yes, the engineering division has 3 non-bargaining employees, myself and 2 others. One of which will be starting on Monday, which is great. Difficult position for us to fill, as it's got a pretty low pay. These folks act as program and project managers for roads, sidewalks, utility oversight, sewer, stormwater, private development, and any issue that just happens to pop up. Additionally, we have two bargaining unit engineers, one of which came on board within the past 3 months, and another who we're hopeful to get on board by the end of this fiscal year. We have 4 paraprofessionals who do daily permitting, inspections, site plan reviews, and we're excited to bring on a GIS coordinator who will lead our mapping efforts to make information visible to the public and to the council on projects and utility projects that are going on. We've also made a push in the past few years to digitize our records. We've been stuck in the 18 and 1900s for quite a bit. So now we've digitized after almost losing our sewer records to a flood. That's all available online to the public. We have all of our street line information available, and we hope to make that available to the public online also.
Okay. Any open positions?
We have, hopefully by June 30th, we're gonna have no open positions.
How many open positions do you have now?
We have 1 open position right now. And through COVID, we've had about 5 open positions. So we've really stacked up in the past couple months here.
Okay, so you've testified before this committee in the past that you had a challenge finding staff and then retaining staff because of the salaries. Have you solved that problem or does it continue? And I'm asking this because, and I think my council colleague, Councilman Narducci actually stated, projects aren't getting completed. And the answers that we get, we just don't have enough staff. So we as a council body get frustrated when we put the effort into getting a project launched. And we're very disappointed when it languishes and the response is staffing. So we want to make sure that your department is appropriately staffed to meet the needs that we and our expectations. So please help me understand what's going on with that.
Yeah, I definitely share your frustrations. It's been a struggle for us for many years. We're really fortunate to have 2 internal hires. And part of where we struggle is there's a 15% pay cut for new hires. That's an absolute killer for us. When we look at professional engineers entry level, we're 10% below the starting wage of our peers at the state. When you incorporate that 15% pay cut, we're 25% below our peers. As you start to move up the scale with experience and licensure, we're about 17% less than our peers at the state. And if you institute that 15% cut, we're about 30% below. So we're just not competitive. Again, very fortunate that we had internal transfers and hires to fill some of these spots. And we're able to attract 2 entry-level engineers with the sunsetting of that clause come this fiscal year. If we don't get this first new engineer in by June 30th, I don't think we'll ever fill that position. So it'll take another 3 years to get back to that starting step as a 50% cut proposed to be.
Madam Auditor?
I believe there's some agreement that can be reached with the union to waive that. So don't rule that out.
Under certain
Yeah,
circumstances, is that?
Yeah, we've made that argument, and we've just learned of this recently, so I would not hesitate to request that next.
All right, but still, all right, so,
So the retention is a bigger problem. We do a great job of training our people to be multidisciplined and learning the ways of the city. Usually, they've got a shelf life of 3 to 4 years before they find better opportunities. As I just described, I think a good comparison is our state DOT and DEM, where they employ good deal, good number of engineers. We're finding municipalities, quasi-public, state agencies like the American Debate Commission are far exceeding us. We lost one of our young up-and-coming engineers to the city of Cranston, and good for him, he left to get a $20,000 raise. We're doing exactly what he was doing here, and he's now heading their sewer department and maybe in line to be their city engineer. That was a devastating loss for us. I may have mentioned we lost 50% of our professional staff over the past 8 months, and that just really hampered us.
Yes, please, Madam Auditor.
Did you propose increases? Are these all union positions that obviously you can't get the additional money for?
Yes, I proposed increases for most positions in the engineering department.
Are they reflected in this budget?
And
They are not reflected in this budget.
I think the only ones that are reflected are chief and the deputy.
And
Our understanding was that, and this is what we heard from the union, because we spoke to the union as well, is that those individual increases, particularly the union ones, would be hashed out after the contract itself was resolved, and those individual issues would be hammered out later. That's what was relayed to us by the union. So that's what we rely on, but we asked for those increases. And we can say the same thing out of the sewer level as well.
Are you all set? So you've asked for increases in your salaries for these positions. You're having difficulty keeping them. And the salaries that you've proposed are not included in this contract. Okay, in this budget. So what I would like, another codicil, another request, I would like you to present to me in this body the proposed budgets that you need to provide the services that the city of Providence deserves, both for your engineering department as well as for the sewer department. Salaries, number of positions, those are critical jobs. I have a flooding situation in my ward, as you know. We have a DEM agreement for stormwater management. We need people out cleaning the city council funded a wonderful piece of equipment, a magnificent truck vacuum. That thing should be operating 24/7. And what I am told, we don't have enough operators to actually man the truck. So it's sitting idle. We bought it because we had a DEM agreement, stormwater management agreement, consent agreement. It should be operational, and that's a shame. So I would like to see that proposal. So for sewer and engineering, number of staff needed to man that truck, to keep us operational and to serve the city of Providence, sewer and engineering, jobs, titles, whatever it is you need, we would like to see it. Okay?
Yes, and we hope that enables us. We're chasing free money, grant opportunities wherever we can. We're struggling to make those applications and implement if we are to receive that, and that's something we're actively pursuing now with Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank and DEM to further the stormwater and sewer costs. So I believe we can pay dividends, multiple times if we can staff up and give the city what it deserves.
Unfortunately, the sewer department, engineering department, they're like the last departments that are focused on. And they are really critical departments to us. I talked about stormwater management, but also, for flooding reasons, for sewer collapses, there are emergency issues. We're paving our streets. We're spending a lot of money to pave our streets. And after we pave our streets, the sewer system collapses. We're putting in, I'm not familiar with the terminology here, but the lines to people's homes, we're changing them out at the street level. And then it, we have collapsing happening all the time. We're constantly getting calls. We need to do better. I know we can do better, and I'm not criticizing the departments in any way, shape, or form. Actually, I'm heralding the wonderful work that they have done under the limitations that they've worked within. So we've got to solve it. I'd like to solve it with this budget. We've been talking about it for years. I know as long as I've sat on this finance committee, which is since I've started as a council person, it comes up every year. I'm not going to allow it to be discussed another year. It's a shortcoming in this budget. It's got to be fixed.
And
Councilman
Madam Chair,
Narducci.
just brief, because shame on us as a city. Chairman Mezzalella and the navigates big issue of like $600 million to buy out the sewer department and all the sewer lines in the city department, in the city of Providence, and we refused that deal. That's a shame, because you know what? We won't be having this part of this conversation right now.
I've testified before, we are an unfunded sewer department, relying entirely on the operating budget, no user fees generated. So in that area we struggle.
Okay,
And again, that's where the big commission came in, because there are user fees.
That's right, people like all you.
okay, all right, I think that was a good, healthy discussion, and you have the deliverable on that. Let's continue. What other department? Are you done? First of all, I'm sorry.
I could speak for hours, but yes, I'm
Okay, okay. If there's anything else that you think is pertinent to the discussion that we had tonight, please send it along to the clerk and make sure that I get Craig's and Mr. Parada's.
We don't have a form.
We're going to be discussing
Okay.
this matter, these matters. We've lost quorum. Okay, let's continue to the discussion on the budget. What is the next department that we would like to present?
We touched on environmental, but I'll go over that briefly. And so environmental is head by.
That's another important department. I can't wait. Go ahead.
Is head by Al Giuliano. You have 6 inspectors.
Now help me, you've made a change to that recently, right? So Al is a new director,
He's the new director,
associate director.
associate director,
Who was in that spot before?
moment minutes.
And that's the new deputy director. Okay.
For a while.
Okay,
So Al is in that position. He was an inspector previous to that, so he rose up from the ranks to the position of associate director. So we have 6 inspectors. We have a environmental clerk, and we have another environmental clerk for the court. So basically that she may be under the admin portion.
what is the function of an assistant associate director of environmental? What do they do?
So I'm referring to the Al Giuliano,
I don't like to talk about people's names, but
associate.
Yes.
So he has the division.
Yeah.
So they handle all complaints regarding trash, recycling. They help with educating the public. They help with trying to improve recycling rates. He's the one who developed a plan for improving our mattress collection. So we've reduced the amount of waste that we have in that area significantly. So he came up with that proposal. So he's in charge of that division.
Madam Auditor?
So, I do the inviting for these committee meetings and I'm really disappointed. I invited for these, I knew that environmental would be a big issue. And that's why I invited the 2. I have emailed back and forth with Maureen when she was this position about publicizing the rates of the collection of trash pickups, or the recycling, which areas are doing better. I asked if that could be done. Now, you didn't have a deputy before, you do, you gave her a raise, someone should be doing that. The public should know what we're getting. The public should know what areas are doing terrible in recycling, what areas are doing good, how do we improve it, where's the education? It should all be online, it should all be there, and it just, you have 2 very well-paid positions, and like, I got nothing. I
Well, I
asked,
know we do.
I'm not done, I'm not
advertising. I
done.
know
Hold
we do
on,
some.
I'm not
please.
done.
Mr.
I asked for monthly reports. I said, if you're not gonna do it, send me the monthly bills, so I can do it. I got nothing. So that is why I wanted them here, so at least you would know who I am. I had a good goal. And I know if you're a head of environmental or you're the deputy director and you were there, it should be your goal too, to inform everybody of this. So I am very disappointed, 1, that they didn't show, and 2, that I never got my information.
I'll be happy to get that information to you.
I don't want it,
Unfortunately,
I don't
she-
want it, now they can do it.
Oh, no, they'll do it.
Please,
Unfortunately, she was on vacation, so she's away.
all you had to do was call me, I would have changed the meeting.
Yeah.
I'm very adaptable. So, but I knew face to face, everyone could know who she was, because I don't know if anyone has met her.
I have,
I have.
She's the deputy director.
Okay, so, we're gonna get her back, we're gonna get her in here. There's a list of things that you're looking for, Gina. Can you send an email, to, the director? I'd like to be copied on it, and I'd like you to copy the clerk. We'll make sure we get it to the next meeting, okay? That's gonna be the top of the agenda. All right, so my question, I was going in a different direction, but I thank you for that testimony. The assistant director of engineering is a grade 18, is that correct? Is that what it is? Grade 18, correct? Could you speak? I'm looking for oral testimony. Is it an 18? Yes, okay. So I'm just looking at other, some of the other folks here that are running departments. So you testified that that position was responsible for recycling rates, trash collection, mattress collection, kind of overseeing those programs. Is there any technical skills that are required for that position?
Not a specific.
Any certifications, degrees,
No.
anything like that? Okay. So I'm looking at the sewer superintendent of sewers is a 17. Why is that position a 17 when they're dealing with very significant, expensive
I agree.
matters for the city? Why is that a 17?
That's the contractual, that's what's in the contract, that's what's in the. budget
That doesn't
ordinance,
seem, okay,
Budget ordinance, so, it's not a union position, but that's what's in the budget ordinance.
that's a problem.
Madam Chair, you propose,
Madam Auditor,
you propose a raise for your deputy, why wouldn't you propose a raise?
And we did propose raises for sewer, that's what we said earlier, they were not included.
you
We
propose
testified to that
raises,
earlier.
you propose, that you did say that. You propose raises to the mayor and the administration, and they rejected your proposals.
They were not included.
Okay, I want to see those proposals, all of them. And what is the fiscal advisor? What is that all about?
Fiscal advisor takes care of all fiscal matters in the department, so they pay the bills, they supervise the administrative department, they take care of all the invoices, requisitions, payroll, etc.
And that's a 17. There's a world of difference between a superintendent of sewer, a fiscal advisor, and an assistant director of environmental. Okay, so you're gonna give us that proposal, and I'm hoping that your proposal addressed some of the shortcomings in these gradings, because there's quite an issue here, shortcomings here. What else? What other department can you talk about? Are we done with, well, we're gonna have Maureen McManus come in and talk about the whole environmental department. We're gonna have them back with the information that the auditor has asked for. What other section are you prepared to talk about?
So you have the traffic division,
Okay.
that's headed by Nate Urso.
Oh, Nate Urso,
Traffic
okay.
engineer.
Yep.
So you have two traffic system analysts, they do the traffic reviews, they do the studies for the city. And you have 4 traffic sign maintenance people. And you have 2 people in the signal crew, one's an electrician, and one is a traffic signal person. So they take care of the traffic signals, whereas
Stop signs and.
stop signs is done by traffic sign maintenance people.
Does that come under that area? Okay. And is that appropriately staffed? Because we
It's
know.
fully staffed for the first time in quite a while.
Okay, Councilman Vargas, do you have a question?
Yes, I would like to go back to environment. That director, you shorthanded that department. You only have 2 laborers in there, and I see that that's where they need more the people to work on. If you can spread that department to get at least 1 more, 2 more guys Because every time they shorthand, you call to pay some profit, they don't have nobody. You call somebody to deliver again, they don't have anybody to deliver again. So it's a department that been having issues on shorthand.
So right now, yeah, right now we're short two people for meeting. And we posted those positions, so we're hoping to fill those shortly.
You should have like at least two people, if one goes sick or one goes down, at least you got one
Yes,
left.
we have two. That's what we're short.
And also for labor, it's like, the big guy, he can do the labor too.
Right.
So he can do both works.
Mhm.
And that's why I see the shorthand in this department. And this department is very important for the whole city. Also, question. For you, you don't have a labor guy there?
For the engineering division, no, we don't have
A labor, do you need a labor in that department, no?
The work we do is primarily contracted out, sidewalk repairs, paving, sewer,
So you don't need no labor.
no.
Thank you, manager.
Can I just-
Thank you, sir. Councilman.
Why we're on that. You know, you stated a few minutes ago that we only have, and I see only 6 inspectors for the whole city of Providence. Why just 6?
Historically, it's been that way since, I would say,
But
the last
things have changed
10 years.
back 70 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm just gonna say it on record, I don't care. People had more pride where they live.
You could say, it.
People could care with their stuff. Okay? The dynamics have changed. 6 inspectors for 15 wards, I think it should be like council people. I think you should have 1 inspector for each ward. And I'm sure if we had 15 inspectors, 1 for each ward, we could keep them busy. I would like to see at least 8, possibly 10 inspectors. And I want to throw stones at anybody, but what gets me mad sometimes is with all the administrations on all the departments, not just DPW, is it seems that we have an overabundance of administrators, more so than we have employees that are actually out there doing the work. And again, I'm not saying that directly to DPW, when I say administration, in almost every city department. We're brass heavy, how's that say go? Too many chiefs, not enough Indians,
Yep.
you know, I mean, again. I know how many times I call Sal, I call you. With stuff that I see out there. And to hear 15 wards, and I know some wards about more of those type of issues than others. That maybe certain wards in our city could probably use 2 inspectors just for those particular wards. That to hear that we only have 6 inspectors. I think we definitely need to do something with that. Where did that number come from?
I can't answer that specifically. I know we've had 6 inspectors for at least 10 years, somewhere else. Now, whether that's an historical number, whether it was higher at some point, I don't know. But I do know that, sure, I mean, our department is cognizant of competing needs in the city. It's very easy for us to say, sure, give me 15 inspectors, give me 20 inspectors. Every department would like that more. We try to make do with the best that we have. If you do give us more, obviously there's the unintended consequences. The unintended consequences are, okay, I need more vehicles. I can't have 10 inspectors, but I only have 6 cars.
But it's a service that we need to give to our.
No, I understand, but it's sort of, it's a domino effect. So if you do one, you can't do one without the other. You can't say, hey, I have 10 people, but I only have 6 cars to put them in.
Madam
And
Chair,
then it doesn't, it sort of defeats the purpose.
Madam Chair, I've always said it, at the budget meetings. I know the mayor dictates, and I'm not just this mayor, mayors dictate to the directors. You wait, say we need 10, no, you only get 6. That doesn't float. I've always tried to let directors understand that the reason why we're here as a council is to make sure all of our departments are manned properly. Not undermanned and then having these type of conversations. You know what I mean?
Has there ever been any thought to a defined program for, I don't want to say policing the wards, but basically these inspectors, are they out regularly looking at every single street and recording what they're seeing and following up? Does that happen?
That happens every day they're on the wards. So they're inspecting for mattresses that are out on the street.
And what happens if they see a mattress out on the street?
They pull it in, they get it into the highway, and it gets picked up.
But that doesn't explain why that couldn't be happening, because we have mattresses and we have, objects, bulk items that sit on the sidewalk. And people call us and they're frustrated. They've been there a week or two. And then, the council will call and request a pickup. So are the inspectors not being effective? Are they not covering every street, every inch of is there not enough, as my colleague has just pointed out, to do the job that's expected of them?
Yeah, that's difficult for me to answer, but I do see on a daily basis the lists that they provide to highway with specified items, mattress, couch, whatever it is, at a certain address. They send a ticket out to that address, and they send the item to DPW on a daily basis. All 6 inspectors do it every day. And the list can be quite extensive at times.
Okay, well, something's not right. Okay, I think one of the topics that we spoke about tonight is really critical, and that is getting these positions funded, graded at the correct amount. We've got HR, the HR department is coming in here Tuesday. I would like to make sure that the requested information that we provided, that you provide to us, the requested documentation and information before HR gets here. So could you just please make sure that that gets to us and gets to the HR department as well? So before Tuesday. All right. What else? Any further questions?
One last
Council?
one.
Yes, sir. Councilman Vargas.
Madam Chair, what is the duties of parking administrator? One.
Okay, so the parking administrator, that needs to be held by myself. The parking administrator handles all matters parking in the city, whether it's a loading zone, whether it's a valet, whether it's a handicap spot, no parking, parking meters, anything to do with the curb. So they have a multitude of departments, a multitude of things to do. Parking meters alone takes up a great deal of time in the city. That generates a little over, this year, I think, $2.3 million in revenue. It's down substantially since the pandemic, but things have changed, the world has changed. But that's their responsibility. So they, that department does have a great deal to do with managing parking within the city.
What I noticed is that when the people use a handicap sign, we don't have application. It is online application to get out.
I believe there is, and it's very simple. We have a very simple process, set of guidelines. Generally speaking, if a house is a multifamily house and you have a handicap need, it's always granted. We don't assume, because of the jockeying of positions, if it's a single-family house and the house has a driveway and the driveway is closer than the street, typically we don't grant it. But there are circumstances where we do. The driveway could be too narrow, it could be further away from the doorway, it could be on an incline where it's not conducive for a handicapped person, so we make those exceptions. But we require just a copy of the handicap placard, and then we put the sign. But we make people go through that process, not complicated, but we make them go through the process.
Thank you.
And that is graded in 22. And there's 2 people reporting to that person. Again, the disparity in the grading is really remarkable. All right, you didn't talk about highway.
And so highway.
Share any thoughts with us on that?
It's headed by the superintendent, Sal Solomon. And we have an acting deputy right now. And
How long has that person been acting?
for about 2 months, Richard Perella. He was formerly in the union, he's there in a limited position. Very good, he has a wealth of experience, used to work at Brown Resource Recovery. And he's been with us for a number of years. We have various positions for maybe heavy equipment operators.
How many people report to the deputy highway superintendent?
So basically, it's a chain of command, superintendent's in charge of the whole division. The deputy is underneath him, and every person underneath the deputy reports up. So, pretty much, I think there's about 50 people in that division, and that includes heavy equipment operators, cement finishers, laborers, and you have mechanics, which is separate divisions. It's separated out.
Do you have vacant positions there? You do, don't you?
We do, and that's where I gave you previous testimony, our biggest challenge is filling equipment operators, because you need CPR. That's been our biggest challenge to date. We're fully staffed with laborers as of last week. But everything else that requires a CDL, that's been a challenge. And we're constantly advertising for that. And
Okay.
do I think that the 15% impacts that? Without a doubt.
But that can be overridden, as the auditor has pointed out, if that's a problem. Okay, Councilman
Just
Malucci?
because you had said about one of the problems is the medical marijuana. Obviously, you can't get a CDL.
Right, it's federal law that you have to drug test it, you have to pass it into this.
Can you stop me if I'm wrong for asking this question, please? Do we have that many employees that are on medical marijuana working?
I have no knowledge. No knowledge. What I do know is that nationwide, it is a growing issue in terms of getting CDL drivers. Everyone, you see the billboards on the highways, you see them everywhere, people are providing $10,000 signing bonuses. You cannot find CDL drivers, whether Class A, Class B. And there's no doubt in my mind that the changing environment is making it that much more difficult for people to comply with the regulations of the license.
Now, what if we did the other way out? CDL drivers. Not higher. Big part of the application that we have on this site, right?
Problem is you have vehicles that require CDL license to drive in the winter. And that's what I said earlier, we need to transition this is going to continue to be an issue. We need to look at our fleet and slowly change our fleet so that we have the flexibilities that don't require specific licenses. They're similar in size to our six-wheel trucks. The difference is they don't require a license if they don't have air brake and they're under the classification. We do that, then that requirement to have that license goes away. We hire anybody with a driver's license, as long as we can train them on how to operate this product, they can do the same job as someone with a single license.
I think it's a good job instead of doing fresh.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, any further questions? I think we're gonna call it quits for this evening. We really need that information from you gentlemen, before Tuesday. Okay, with that, I'm going to adjourn. We do not have a quorum. No, we don't, because we don't have a quorum. And it was discussion. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Sweet.
Okay.